I can't believe we haven't talked about this guy yet, Ethan. There's a couple guys I feel like I can't believe we haven't talked about, but
Riley
Stefon
Minix.
Castle.
Oh, sorry.
I love it. I love it. No, the rookie of the year, Stefon Castle. We already kind of talked about him at the beginning of the episode, talking about this Raptors game. But man, what can you say about Stefon in his first season in San Antonio?
Dude, everything you wanted him to be and more. Started off the year as basically just a defensive guy. Like, did barely took any shots and then quickly became a go-to scorer for us and playmaker. I mean, to finish the year averaging, what did he average in the last month? 19, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. And then in March, he averaged almost 20, 5 and 5. So this is a guy that's a double-double machine, one of the best rebounding guards in the league already as a rookie. Um, and it's so much upside offensively that it's like just like oozing out of him. Like the comparisons of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander look mild now, based on what he was able to do at 19 years old. So I think with all the concerns with Devin and what we thought he was going to be for Victor, Stephon is that. We don't have to worry anymore about finding it. We have it.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to just repeat what I've said all season, but like you said, he's the second half of Area 51. Um, when you watched him this year, we talked about how we don't have a lot of takeaways from the little stretch of games that we did get with De'Aaron and Wemby. There were multiple times in that stretch where I was thinking to myself, is Stefon Castle better than De'Aaron Fox? And I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying the fact that I had that thought in his rookie season during those games is telling to the type of player that he can be long term.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'll say it right now. I usually don't come out on a limb and say stuff like this, Ethan. I do think he has a higher ceiling than De'Aaron Fox.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think De'Aaron Fox is really, 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 really good. And he's going to be I mean, he's a giant part of why the mindset, of how we're viewing the team has changed, like I referenced earlier, and why we think, we have the mindset going into next season that the Spurs do. So I don't say that to diminish De'Aaron Fox at all. I just say that to say that this is the worst that Stefon's going to be. And
Mhm.
I just feel like the sky is the limit, man. Or not, the sky isn't even the limit. Area 51, the moon, man, or beyond.
Mhm.
There's so many different things, like you said, and I touched on that in the Raptors game. If he's not shooting well, he gets to the line. If he's not rebounding, he's distributing. If he's not distributing, he's rebounding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the last thing I'll say on Stefon. Physically, the way that he imposes himself, I obviously knew he was going to be a physical defender, but he's even like he's already bullying guys, like big brothering people physically as a
Mhm.
rookie. So again, that potential is well long term. Um, I mean, when you combine that strength going downhill with his decel and finesse, and we haven't even got to his shooting. I could sit here and ramble forever, but that's why long term you can't put a cap on his ceiling, and that's why we're so excited about him being that pairing next to Victor.
Here's my going out on a limb, Jude. Once De'Aaron Fox becomes the third option on this team, we're championship contenders.
Interesting. I like that. I like that. I really like that.
Because that means Steph is the second option, and that means he's reached his potential. And I also think we can have talk about details in a different episode because it'll go on forever and ever.
Right.
But at 6'6", next to De'Aaron Fox, I know he wants to play point guard, and he's a great point guard, and he'll have a lot of ball handling duties going forward. But if he embraces being a shooting guard, Jude,
Mm-hmm.
who else do we know at 6'6" that embraced being a shooting guard? Uh,
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I was
Or
gonna
no, no,
say
no. I'm
Kobe.
tripping. He's a point guard.
I was gonna say Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
right? The goats of that position. And I'm not saying he is that, but he has some similarities in terms of mindset, physicality, aggressiveness, and being a point shark. Like he wants to score. He's got playmaking abilities, and we've seen that. But he's a guy that I think is going to get up there in terms of scoring potential.
I think that's why I pulled up his game log here at the end of the year. You saw him really starting to get in rhythm with that, and and when defenses are having to worry about De'Aaron and Victor again, Good luck with Stephon running to the rim when you
Yeah.
got to worry about those guys on the perimeter. And by the way, if you do crash with two guys, he might score over both of them,
Hmm.
score through them, or contort himself to pass out to a shooter.
He's who we wanted Jonathan Simmons to be, Jude.
He's, you
He's the
know,
LeBron James of Jonathan Simmonses.
there's kind of, there's some Manu to him at the
Oh,
rim.
there is.
I can't believe I hadn't thought about that until now. But we could talk about Stephon forever. We got to wrap up this episode at some point, as much as we still got people to talk about. Okay, who do we want to go to next? All right, let's go to Victor Wembanyama.
Okay.
This is a very interesting discussion as well, Ethan. Obviously, we haven't talked about Vic in a while, and obviously, we only got to see 46 games out of him. And you do see, some incremental stat increases, but I think that isn't done justice because of the injury with the way that it went. Because I think if he doesn't have the DVT, I think playing next to De'Aaron, as much as there were still some kinks to work out, I think you could see some even more increases, playing next to him if we're really pushing for the playoffs, post All-Star break.
In December, he averaged 28, 10, and 5, 4 blocks.
There you go.
Despite only playing 46 games, still finished with the most blocks in the NBA. This guy's the one, Jude. I have no concerns at all. People say, "Oh, he gets pushed around. He'll get stronger." I'm not worried. Who cares? He's still getting 28. They
No.
push him around. He's gonna cross them up, break their ankles. He's still long enough to dunk despite being pushed out of the paint. Like that's this. I have no concerns, Jude. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'll start to ramble. But
You're good, brother. And there's nothing to say with Wemby, man.
exactly.
Here's what I'll say. We saw another level up despite the stats. It may not looking like that if you're just looking at the numbers, but if you watched this season, you saw another level up. And I think now that he's gonna have like a seasoned Stefon Castle who's comfortable and has gotten reps and isn't just a rookie out there for the first time, and De'Aaron Fox with the little reps that they've had, as well as an off season together. Again, it's just scary. It's just scary going into next season. Not to just sit here and be like, oh, we're Spurs fans and we're just everything's all fine and dandy, but this dude's the future. I mean, he's the future of the league, and with him having another level up, just in itself with another off season of development and his own potential,
Mm-hmm.
on top of being next to De'Aaron and Stephon and whatever else we do with the roster in the offseason. Again, dude, I think 30 points next year. I know this may sound crazy, but I think getting close to 30 points is reasonable.
Oh, 1,000%. He might be chasing the scoring title next year, Jude. I might even
Yeah.
go, to that extent because he's finally got.
He'll
I
be
mean,
an MVP candidate, like
yeah,
legitimately.
Chris Paul was a point guard, obviously the one of the best we've ever seen. But now he's got De'Aaron Fox at the helm for a full season, and right now we don't even remember. Like he's not allowed to be in contact right now. He is
Hmm.
basically being forced to work out by himself. Like I feel like his 3-point percentage next year is going to be close to 40%. It was 35 this year, 32 the year before. So he's probably going to be 38, 39 next year if I were a betting man.
I feel bad for opposing defenses.
Yeah, no, this is a nightmare matchup.
I don't know how you game plan for that. There's nothing else that you can say about Victor. Just year 3 is going to be another level up, and it's going to be by far the best version of the team he's been surrounded by, which is only going to amplify his own individual improvement.
1,000%.
I mean, just crazy to think about. Let's move on to his running mate for next season, De'Aaron Fox. Ethan, what were your thoughts on the little that we did see from De'Aaron this year in San Antonio? And also just, of course, the outlook for him moving forward.
Yeah, kind of hard to evaluate. Only 17 games with the Spurs, injured for all 17 with that hand thing. And like you said, it felt like at times he wasn't doing 110% because of that and kind of deferring to his teammates. So with the Spurs, only averaged 20 and 7 only. That's still really good.
Right.
And I think most of that was without Victor Wembanyama. But in the brief glimpse we saw with the two of them together, their chemistry looked great. They play really well off of each other. Um, only 27% from 3 in those 17 games, which was like sort of concerning, but obviously with the hand thing, like I'm not going to say that that's what he's going to look like next year. I think that's going to be remedied by the time the season starts next year. Um, I guess the only real concern, I guess, would be the chemistry fit next to guys like Devin and Keldon. Um, but even that, I'm not like that overly concerned about. I just feel like I have to say it because of that being the only real negative that I saw in that brief stretch that he was able to play with them.
Yeah, again, I think he was just kind of like we said, he wasn't imposing himself completely because I think he was feeling things out. I think also post Wemby injury, it was kind of more about distributing and just figuring out how the other guys play rather than him, imposing himself. And
Right.
obviously, like there was a Hornets game. Man, let me just pull up the game log because I bet I can find it where I believe we lost. Um, Here we go. I
Yeah,
guess
I see
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's this one. It's this close one. Where he hit the buzzer beater, but it was like just a little
Mhm.
bit late.
Yep.
But the point I'm getting at there is that, he would kind of be off on the side, but for most of the game, but then in the fourth quarter, when we needed, we were trying to get a win, he turned into the real De'Aaron Fox, that we've seen in Sacramento for all these years. And what we're gonna see next season. So again, that's just I don't feel like we really saw the De'Aaron Fox that we're gonna get. As much as there still were some things to take away and like positive things that we did see when he did play. But the last thing I'll say on the efficiency, because I think that's something that people could hit on again. I just feel like a lot of times the threes that he took were out of rhythm because he was figuring out our offense and like where to place himself and stuff. And if you want to
Fair
say
point.
that's an excuse, I hear you, but that's just my take on that.
No, that's a fair point.
Any final thoughts on De'Aaron?
No, sir. I think it'll be scary next year.